very often it's like you get 50% of value if you don't do this right. A lot of companies were investing in AI by treating it almost like an AGI. You need to have this UX in mind even when you're just thinking about technology. Look at LLMs as a tool that you can use to open doors to other optimizations. And when you mix this together, when you use the best parts of all the interfaces to actually build the final experience, that's really powerful.
Hi, my name is Marcin Kokot and welcome in Product Odyssey, the series where we explore how to build products fundamentally better. Today with me is again Mike.
Hi, hello.
Mike is a CEO at Vasco, and today we'll be talking about developing projects using AI, developing products using AI, and we'll be talking about patterns, risks, trends. And we'll start with a very simple ask or a question. AI is everywhere, and we got used to it already. So still it's a valid to ask a question. Is it still overhyped?
So I think that a lot of companies were investing in AI by treating it almost like an AGI, like human level intelligence. And the pattern was that very often you just build a single chatbot that you use fine tuning on, you use RAG on, and you also use prompt engineering. You feed it with your data and you ask the chatbot to solve quite broad problems. Like, for example, you have a support team, and if you create a chatbot that you give to clients to contact the chatbot instead of the support team, very often it doesn't work because it's a simple solution that is not really tuned to the real need. And I think that right now we're in a moment where a lot of companies, a lot of people in technology, they find out, okay, like this is a problem. Maybe AI is not working for me. Maybe LLMs are not such a great invention. I think it's also a moment when a lot of people are looking at what's happening with large companies that build the basic technology, like OpenAI, Google, and others. And there is a lot of investment that needs to happen there. There are no real results yet. So I think we're in a moment when people think about, okay, like will it be the future, or how it will really develop? And I think there is a real potential, but you need to treat LLMs and AI a little bit differently.
Can you distinguish once again, or have you any examples of not AGI, but actually narrow or weak AI solution in practice?
Mhm. So I think that actually right now, all the solutions that we have are weak AI because the strong AI is an AGI, an intelligence similar to human, very broad, very independent, and we don't have solutions like this yet. I think that it can appear in the future, but not very soon. And I think that basically it's not just about the transformers, but additional layers on top of transformers. The O1 agent, for example, from OpenAI is moving a little bit into this direction, but it's not yet there, definitely. Just the reflection, that's a nice improvement, but it's not working perfectly yet. And even this, it won't be enough. We'll get there, but we're not there yet.
Okay, so usage of narrow AI, like a single task solution. So LLMs, which are doing, or a single agent that is doing one task, that's the direction. That's the narrow or weak AI. And the anti-pattern that you are mentioning is also, and we have seen it in the example, is that people tend to have a thin wrapper around that and have it as a solution. So there we land on the single chatbot that is on the website, right?
Yeah, well, the real potential is not building chatbots. It's building actually AI-empowered experiences, AI-empowered interfaces where you don't just use, like either text or voice, but where you actually build a human-computer interface that uses all the advantages that LLMs give you in this new technology. And it's important not to use it as, a golden solution for everything that is the core of your solution, but more as an opener of new possibilities. And then, like if you treat AI as a solution that allows you to go into areas that weren't able to be weren't able to be serviced before, then that's the great potential.
Okay, so let's try to organize that. And if I would be starting from zero, I know that AI is the hype. I want to use it. I somehow know that it's not about the AGI. I want to use the narrow AI solutions which are on the market and approach it. Where should I start, or with what I should start if I'm thinking about the new projects?
So first of all, you need to define what problem you want to solve. What are the cases, and you also need to focus very much on the real use case. It's very hard to, build an agent or chatbot that will, replace people. But it's much easier to define that. Okay, maybe your goal is not to replace your support team, but actually to service their most time consuming or most burdening tasks. Like, for example, maybe they get a lot of calls during the night or at late hours. And if you set up your goal to maybe reduce the workload of the support team by 40%,
Hmm.
then it's much easier to actually achieve this. And you can plan this in steps. You don't need to build one great solution that solves everything, which, spoiler, won't happen really.
Yeah.
But you can go step by step, and you can build a solution that is really, you understand it, you control it well, and you can influence with time, you can modify.
Right. So it's not far from if I would be starting any kind of product development. I need to define what is the idea that I'm after, the business goal. And then what you're saying is, and I agree based on the experience that we had, is you need to define the process that is the business process that you want to address, either enhance it or fix it. And the third thing that you have mentioned is really important is it's not about how to automate that always, right? It could be the goal, but sometimes it's about how to make it easier or how to even reduce the process, which is very boring or very not natural. So basically, automating is the word, but also you can reduce that by doing something
Mhm.
in back of the system, right? So I'm having the system. It could be sales process, could be even production process that I'm there. It's always easy to, if you define it, to see where I can enter with point solution AI solutions, which will be then integrated, which can help me to boost better results from this process, right?
Yeah, I think it's maybe good to also uh, look at it from the perspective of particular examples.
Hmm.
Like, for example, right now we're building a solution that is focused on changing the ordering process in a complex sales process where a client doesn't really know how the product that he's ordering works. Like, he thinks he knows, but he needs explanations along the way. And here it's important to look at it as, okay, what are the particular steps that the client needs? And then you need to plan, like, what type of interface to use with these various communications. If it's all text, it won't work. If it's all voice, it won't work either. If it's all mobile or web interface, that's what we already have. And the great thing is to look at it and see, okay, which interface is best for the given scenario. Like, for example, if I want an explanation about something that I'm not sure about, that's a quite fuzzy problem that we cannot define through the old expert system graphical interface.
Hmm.
That's when LLMs are great. If I'm calling through the phone, that's great for the voice interface, but also maybe I want to have part of the ordering process done in an application where I can see, okay, those are 5 types of products. I can look I can see how they look, and I can choose from them. And when you mix this together, when you use the best parts of all the interfaces to actually build the final experience, that's really powerful. That's something that is giving actual competitive advantage.
Oh yeah, I remember from the discussions with the clients where it was eye opener for them that it's not about one single AI solution that will just start and start the interaction and finish the whole process, but it
Mhm.
will be action, or the user will be jumping through different experiences, like you have mentioned, right? You can
Mhm.
write and start the sales process, but then I'm moved to the website where I'm seeing actually the examples of the product and I can make a decision. So it's the whole experience that you are planning, right? So it's actually moving me to the next question, because it seems that if I'm stating the business goals, I have one more question there to add it, but just a second here. If I'm stating business goals, I'm having the business process that I want to automate or improve. Then I'm thinking about implementing multiple point solutions to address the different pains in the process or enhance it. And what is critical is UX in a more or better way. Is there any kind of change right now? Because we have thought about the UX for already a long time when we are doing product development, but right now with AI, does it change in any way how we approach that?
Yes, there are a lot of changes, and one thing is that previous systems were very deterministic. You knew, okay, that you go from this step to another one, and you could define it clearly. With LLMs, you have an opportunity to actually also address solutions that are not that deterministic. You don't know what will happen, and the system can still handle this. Can basically uh, improvise, you could say, and that's where you need to plan the approach to this experience differently.
Okay. Is there any kind of like anti-pattern that you would see when we are thinking about UX side of those projects that we are actually developing?
There are many, I would say, but approaching the UX of AI experience that you build, AI empowered experience, in a way that you were doing UX before, that's already an anti-pattern because you actually need to have the knowledge of course, UX, but you also need the technical knowledge and someone who understands what are the possibilities. And the good approach is for the technical person to actually define kind of bricks that the UX person can use in a given situation, and also you need a good cooperation between those people in the team and a dialogue. And very often it's something that well, it's very specific, you could say.
I've seen that already. That it's pretty common discussion on the market that we have mentioned like a year ago or two that there are no roles defined for AI. That is a new area from data scientists, data engineers. We are trying to right now create a new roles, and that's being covered. But all the other supporting roles or different, I'm not saying supporting, but the other roles that you have in the product development, they are never still addressed. I mean, like there is no change in UX to have AI UX yet, and I can expect that it will happen.
Yeah.
And all the other supporting things like a testing AI also
Mhm.
happening there. Probably it will happen, but this is the first example that we have seen this move that the UX need to collaborate because
Mhm.
it will be always close collaboration with the
Yeah,
developers.
and you asked about anti-patterns. The second anti-pattern is a little bit. We touched on this a little bit.
Hmm.
Is building something that you don't really understand, that you don't have control over. So just RAG, fine tuning, prompt engineering. That's not enough because you need to adjust the experience with time. You also ideally want to have this adjusted not by expensive experts, but by people in your company that understand what's happening. So, having a backend where you can actually modify, tune this experience, plan it, that's really important. And that's where you can actually build your competitive advantage on for long term.
Hmm.
Because, you know, even some time ago, I think that was 1, 2 months ago, we were discussing about, okay, where the voice solutions will go. And we were predicting, okay, probably, for example, problems that we had there then, that they will disappear with time, that it will be easy to build, to use a model that speaks fluently in foreign language. We already have this with the new release from OpenAI.
Hmm.
It's not accessible through API yet, but it will be soon. And there are things where you shouldn't invest into some capabilities because they will appear on the market. But where you have really, I think, lasting advantage is basically using your know-how on the structure. And maybe to explain this a little bit better, the AGI, the version of AI that once we get to miracles will happen, basically. Um, this AGI, the most similar thing to AGI is general intelligence, so humans that
Right.
perform various tasks, right? And whenever you get a group of people together and ask them, okay, please build me a rocket, or build me a simple IT product and sell it, you don't just ask them, you don't just give them access to the knowledge. You don't just tell them, okay, those are the rules for all of you, figure this out, right? that's very often something that happens with use of LLMs right now. What you want to do is you want to structure the team. You want
Right. Yeah.
certain roles, you want certain approach, you want certain culture. That is the competitive advantage that actually is make or break of multiple companies. And that's where your competitive advantage can lie in how you structure the LLM agent network instead of just investing in one or other capability.
Oh yeah, I would like to come back to the to orchestration because that's a whole different topic to cover, and I would like to do it later. But just coming back to this one point that we have missed, and that was around the business goals. And the business, it will be connected with also the implementation part. So when we have mentioned that you need to have the business goals, where it's obvious that you think about having the goals for how I want to optimize a business process. I want to have a 20% reduction in lead time or the cost or the conversion. But then the business goal also of the project is the implementation and the usage of that. So
Mhm.
very common we
Yeah,
see that we are planning the solution and say like if it will be the latest technology, the greatest technology, people will use it, my coworkers will use it, or the people that I hire. And it's very often, and we have seen that in the discussion in a previous episode with Oscar, that this is really something that is a problem on the market. Change management and planning implementation, not thinking about the users in the end,
yeah.
is a huge anti-pattern, right?
Yeah, and that's unfortunately something that happens really, really often right now. First thing is, of course, you need to understand what you want to solve, like what is the real case on the ground, you could say, and then you need to implement this, piece by piece and test it while implementing, and then you can actually create a lean plan how to do this and do this fairly cheaply, where your first change you can test it quickly because usually you can find some low hanging fruits that you can address, and then you can see, okay, this pays back already, so I'll just modify this, or I'll just change it. And with this approach, if you build the LLM agent network correctly, you can actually modify it easily. You can extend this with time, and it's much easier to explain to your board that, okay, like we want to maybe build another thing because the first thing already works, and that's something that is a viable approach.
It sounds like incremental approach to building the solution. And what's even more abstracted in my head is that it's basically the building, not the product, but building the almost the company, right? Because each LLM that you can add it that will be interacting with other systems, it's basically one role that is there. So it could be like almost as a company that you will have. And it's easy to implement with the current state of technology, right?
Yes, exactly. You want to define certain roles. You want to define, which roles are performed by humans in what extent, which roles are performed by LLMs, and in what extent how they cooperate. You also want to define like the culture of operation. If you translate it to the company, so orchestration, like how tasks are being performed, what is important, how you handle this. And you also want to use, the rigid structures that you have. So, in terms of companies, very often those are procedures or, other documents that define, okay, this is how we do things. And that's something also that you need to use with network of agents, with building experiences, because then it really works.
It seems that the role of AI architect or a solution builder will be more and more in demand when we are talking about that, right? It's not anymore like I need an engineer because this is a technology that I don't know even how to add it or how to deploy it. It's already the situation that even I don't say junior, but the regular team can actually even build the prototype and proof of concept very easily. So it's the way the question is right now how I should do it correctly. So structuring that correctly, setting up architecture, defining if it's better to have two agents working on the single task or maybe one agent working on that, and how to
Mhm.
optimize that.
Yeah, and I think that there are actually multiple layers how you can look at the task of implementing AI to use it as a competitive advantage in your company. And the first aspect is, of course, you need to know your goals. You need to know what this solution can solve. Another aspect is how I'm going to implement it, how I'm going to create, a lean plan to introduce simple solution first, then
Hmm.
how I'm going to get the feedback from people in my company, how it's going to work for me. Because very often it's like you get 50% of value if you don't do this right. But also another dimension is you can look at it as, okay, I actually need to understand what I'm building, how I can use the AI. And here it's not just about buying the already existing solution or outsourcing this to someone else, but what you can do is you can also upskill your team, at least to have someone on your team that understands, okay, like how this technology works, what are the limitations, how I can really use it, and where is the real value. And that's something where you can start with training sessions. You can start with auditing your product, understanding, okay, like where are the points that I can focus on more. And also you can first introduce this knowledge to your team, and then actually uh, think about, okay, either using something from the market or building a custom solution. But then you also should think about, okay, how this solution is going to work in the future. About you need to build
Hmm.
something future proof, something that you can modify.
Yeah.
Because if you just use a solution that is out there that you don't understand, that you cannot modify, that's not going to be competitive advantage for long.
Right. When you are mentioning the getting the knowledge and building knowledge, seems like building the knowledge center and having the group inside of your company that develops that knowledge, learns and educates. Are you talking about the center to exist in the companies that are building the products, or are you talking about also the situation that if I'm a client, I'm building a solution, I'm having a partner that is building a solution for me, I should also have those groups educated and this knowledge being gathered?
So it depends on your strategy, but I would say that you always need to have an owner of the product on your side that understands, okay, like what are the limitations of this technology, how we can use it. That's something that is a must have, and that's knowledge that you can get through many different means. Then at some point, if you want to actually take over the control of the product, and maybe build your competitive advantage on the product, you can actually also educate your team to be able to modify the solution once it's created. On the other hand, you also want to have people that are not coders, not data scientists, that can modify the process. But that's something else where very often it's enough if someone provides an onboarding to the solution and explains how to use it, and that's also another case. So
Right.
the answer is it depends.
It depends, but it seems that it will be more and more applicable that you need to have even in the company that is buying that kind of solution or for which the solution is being built, that you need to have the evangelist in house that understands how and where I can apply AI and what it's possible to do that, because it's no longer the question is if something is possible to be done, is the question is if I have enough time and money to actually do that, and if the technology is already there in the state enough advanced that it's cheap and easy to do it, probably, right?
So in terms of an evangelist, I think it's worth to define it a little bit better. Um, you don't need someone that understands exactly what to build and how, but you at least need someone who has knowledge of, okay, what is possible, what are the advantages,
Yeah.
what are disadvantages, and also who believes in this and believes in this in a way that, okay, like he drives the solution.
When you're mentioning this kind of evangelist, better describe the person that will know what is possible. That's probably what I see as this kind of inspirator evangelist. But this is covering the area in our discussion that we need to have a correct stakeholder setup, right? On one side, I need to have the team which understands what are the limitations of AI, understand that it's not a point solution. We have discussed that I need to orchestrate and I need to build almost the company for a solution. But also on the other side, on the client side or the user side, I need to have explainability. I need to deploy it. I need to then make sure that people are using it, which means that it's basically inspiration mixed with education that I need to do, and of course plan it in the project that it's change management there. That gives me basically this understand the approach. and this kind of like umbrella of how I should think about it from stakeholder management perspective, change management, and the planning. One thing that is missing there is probably something that we haven't not mentioned, and it's clearly visible in our discussions and the other projects, and that's the fact that I don't need to plan the whole effort as one big project. I can divide it into smaller efforts. So in the case of our recent customers, you can, for example, divide the implementation into the work streams because it's aligned with the processes that you are actually supporting. So manufacturing company can have 5 different work streams that you are working in. And in one, you will be implementing voice assistant. In other, you'll implement 2 agents that are working in the background on processing the data. And in the third, it will be video and supporting the sales process. That could be the effort that you can divide, and probably even divide it into different partners and deliveries, and that will be cost efficient approach, right? Any kind of guess or patterns or anti patterns when you plan that kind of bigger effort to not have it too big or too small?
Sure. Well, I think you should focus first on things that bring you the value quickest, things that you can test, things that you can already implement. And very often there are cases like this. So in case you are looking at the whole company, like you said, I think it's a good idea to separate it into streams to find in every stream which brings you the best value, and also to talk about okay how we can really implement it, and then decide okay this is the stream we're going to focus on. Then maybe we'll move to another stream, and then maybe we'll do something else, and structuring this well so that you can quickly get results. That's something that is important.
Yeah, I really like this approach that we are focusing on the work stream because it's basically when you're saying work stream, then you're seeing the business process, and we're saying that we are not building a product and by
Mhm.
Friday it will be done. We are getting out of it. We are trying to work with your business process and improve it,
Mhm.
and take whatever it takes to actually do that with point solutions, with bigger solution. But you will be improving that until we say it's a good enough, right? And you can move to the other
Yeah,
effort.
and actually, very often, once you start analyzing this, you will find some solutions that you don't even need to implement to improve your business. Like you'll analyze the process and find out, okay, like if I start measuring this, it's going to give me some results.
Right. Yeah. And it could be very fast and cost efficient solution, right? With the current state of the art, it could
Mhm.
be weeks or months of when you see the first results already.
Yeah, and again, if you're thinking about leveraging AI, the biggest advantage is that you look at AI as a door opener to certain cases. Like for example, before you couldn't service people that were didn't have access to keyboard, right? Right now you can, thanks to the voice AI, thanks to the voice solutions. You couldn't service very fuzzy situations where you didn't know really what would happen, and right now LLMs open doors to automating also this. But if you use this as a door opener and then automate other aspects of your process, that's where you get real returns quickly, because you can use solutions that are on the market for a long time, for 20 years and more, and you know how they work. They are predictable, so you know what the return on investment is going to be, and then LLMs can be a really small part of this, and you can get really quick returns.
Right. You've mentioned return on investment. So let's move to the another topic, which is costs. So how much does it cost? Because if I'm the business owner, the first question I would say is, okay, where is the reference point? How much it can cost? What is the minimum? What is the maximum? Any kind of example that we can go to here.
So if you structure it in a lean way, you can first of all have some results that are really quick, because you'll find out, okay, I can use this already existing solution and I can give it to my people, and that's something that you can like. It costs nothing basically. Then there are solutions that you can implement, and they are just modifications of existing solutions that you can do really quickly, that you can start testing, and that's very often a cost of $10,000-$20,000 to already start testing. Then, when you want to build some solutions that really give you competitive advantage, that you start building a moat around, if you focus this on actual your unique processes, you can still do this fairly cheaply, because this is the know-how that you invest in, and technology just opens you the possibility of different use of your know-how, of your structure, of your culture, of your data. And here, this is not a large investment. The large investment starts when you really want to build unique moat around technology, and that's something that you should consider, and something that you don't want to compete with OpenAI, for example. You don't want to compete with big players. There are still certain areas where you can build competitive advantage, where you know that it's going to work well, especially if it's connected with your business. And you should really choose maybe one, two areas like this where you want to compete through technology.
Right, but we see very rarely situations that you really want to be on the edge, right? And that it could be the case that you are a startup which focus is critically on being on the latest wave or the latest development. But Pareto rule, the 2080, most of the clients want to get the benefits of using AI, which is already cheap and fast and really simple to apply. And they want to have it as fast as you can. Therefore, they don't need to go for the latest, most costly efficient, most costly
Yeah,
solution. You go for the existing ones, right?
yeah, and you need to look at it with future proofness in mind, and with thinking, okay, what's going to appear on the market in 1 year, in 2 years, and where I can really omit the investment because the solution will be better in a moment, and it's going to be most likely sooner than you think, and where I really want to invest and what I want to focus on.
I would be not myself if I would not close this loop that we have opened and not mentioned. So about the costs, can you mention any kind of reference scale? So if I would be thinking about the simplest solution, what is the range that I should be prepared of, and what is the next range if I want to go with the
Mhm.
better implementation, couple of work streams?
Sure. So simple solutions you can sometimes build for $20,000, for example, and that's already working. And this is our experience. Uh, and Solutions that would service you for example, the whole purchasing process, complex purchasing process by using multimodal interfaces. So interfaces that connect voice, web, mobile, LLMs. This is in range of maybe 100,000 USD to build really well,
Mhm.
and you can. But that's for the whole solution. You can actually build parts of this solution much cheaper and already test it. And for example, when you're building a tutoring experience, you want to the AI to you want the AI to really take over either large part or whole process of tutoring. That's something that you can actually separate into certain parts of the learning experience and implement it piece by piece. And very often you have just one or two pieces that already work, that you can already use, that you can already test. And this way, this cost already starts paying back before you build the whole solution.
Yeah, it's in line with what we were mentioning, that it's still the same approach that we have it with other good development approaches, that you do it incrementally and return on investment happens already during the development. You can have the working solution partial, and you should do it, test fast and test very often in the market with the users on the way. And there will be probably cases that you will learn that you can do it cheaper. Sometimes we have seen examples where you start with AI product development, and then you realize that for this solution, for this business process, you don't need AI. You can do it cost efficiently, differently, and still improve. So it's about the journey and this cost scale. It's not a retail shop that you buy AI solution that will work. You need to work on the solution as a work stream and incrementally in the context of the business process that I like. But on the costs, I guess that the big difference that appears, or more important now than before, is the fact not only of the development cost, but also the maintenance. So we hear a lot about the fact that anti-patterns that I've developed the one-point solution, the chat, and then my credits are used and going skyrocket. Nobody secure that, and I'm losing
Yeah.
thousands, right? So maintenance costs and the managing costs. What is your take on the patterns and
Mhm.
anti-patterns here?
So this is something that you, of course, should have in mind, and this is also something that you have some influence on. But basically, right now, for example, the cost of use of voice AI, they're quite high. You pay $5 per hour of discussion, basically.
Right.
But they're going to go down with time. And you can also very often control costs by leveraging between using existing solutions that you just integrate and building your own solutions. And the good approach is to first test something by using solutions that uh, don't cost much to implement and have just this constant cost related to them, and then switch them to solutions that are more custom, that actually save you the costs. And this way you can implement it and start testing it quickly, and then switch it to a solution that is cheaper.
Does this mean also that I can divide the, for example, customer segments into the premium ones and the free ones, and for that I will have a different architecture responding to them, or using different models to run the costs lower? Is that so?
Uh, yeah, you could do this as well.
Okay. That's then putting us on the on understanding that it's not only about the deployment, but then you need to probably maintain also. So maintain the cost and maintain the solution in proper way. Therefore, it's even critical to not have only the deployment, but also of the AI solution, but also you need to then
Uh,
monitor that, right?
Yeah, but it's a little bit similar to when blockchain was, a big
Mhm.
thing. You don't want to use blockchain for everything. You don't want to, like base on this fully, because it's an expensive solution. But if you use it as, again, a door opener, or as uh, a solution to service certain problems where LLMs really work, you can actually reduce the cost significantly, and then just use your standard architecture to have lower costs. And maybe it's also worth to mention that right now voice is still expensive. It's going down quite a lot. Like recently, 11 Labs, for example, lowered their prices by, I think, 50%. So if you're using solutions like this, they're going to also get cheaper. But with text-based LLMs, that's already much lower costs.
Right. So it's like with always with a new technology, right? Right now it's the on the edge, so it will be more expensive. But as with everything, it will go down. With as we have it with web storage or with hosting, and right now with processing power. So we should look at it and not as a blocker. You should monitor that. This is what probably we're saying, but don't assume that the current cost will be the current cost, right? And running costs, it can go lower, and you can of course monitor that and optimize it, right? Any other optimizations that you see are visible as the patterns during our project that we developed, or the discussions with the clients that are obvious optimizations of the costs, or any other optimizations of the AI solutions?
Whenever you're building the AI empowered experience or interface, it's important to also plan with the explainability, with controllability in mind. And using, like, very often right now, people build solutions with LangChain, for example, LangGraph. But on top of this, it's worth to also have a controllable backend interface to really tune the process. And that's something where I think the real value also still lies, something that not many people do, and something that can allow you to have a solution that you can tweak in the future, that you don't need to just scrape and build anew. But once you have it, that's something that can give you longer competitive advantage.
You've mentioned a pretty interesting thing around the LangChain and the tools that are in use. It seems that when we're mentioning it's easy to deploy and easy to build the solutions, we see already multiple solutions that are on the market that are basically so easy that it's almost user interface that you can deploy, drag and drop, and build your solutions in a matter of minutes, right?
Uh, yeah, but most often they don't work. the Actually, the whole know-how of how to use LLMs efficiently, that's a new knowledge that appears, and with every week, people learn something new, and there are more and more things that you need to consider. On the other hand, there are more and more tools that handle those things for you, but still, you need to be able to use the tools. You need to be able to configure it. That's knowledge that is not that obvious.
Yeah, it seems that it's like it was with a couple or probably in my life it seems like an ages ago when we have a .NET platforms or the tools for building the solutions where you have a drag and drop interfaces. It's easy
Hmm.
to build already AI solution, but it's not easy to build bulletproof or the future proof solution, cost efficient solution which will be secure, right?
Hmm.
And that's a risk that we see. Many tools will appear, you can build it very fast, but you need to still have a knowledge of you can use those tools, and that's thing that we should do. But you need to have understanding of how that works, how to do it correctly, and what are the risks that you are taking.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you can develop very fast something that will be very expensive and not working,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, it's a unique set of skills that you need. You need to have this UX in mind even when you're just thinking about technology. You know how it's going to impact the end user, and it's very hard to find people that really have technical knowledge and UX knowledge to handle this. And in our experience, it's easier to teach people how to do this. It's hard to find someone on the market that have this approach, but that's something where again a new knowledge is still appearing, and there's not yet a great standard or great book that you can buy to see, okay, how I can build AI empowered human computer interfaces really well. There are materials how to do the uh, voice dialogues in all the expert systems. There are of course a lot of materials about mobile web UX, but linking this together, that's something that is a new knowledge basically.
All right. Any kind of guess on the future? Do you see any trends upcoming or the changes that will happen in your opinion in time, like a short horizon that we should watch out?
Um, sure, I think that we're going to put more and more focus on this backend control of LLM experiences. That's one aspect.
What
Then
do you mean by that? Just to clarify the backend control alarm systems.
I think that we'll put more and more focus on being able to create more deterministic flows of those LLM-based experiences and how they connect with other automations that you have in your company. And
Right.
there is a lot of development there, but we're not there yet.
So moving above the chatbots into or the chat interface to using LLMs in the business processes as an integral part of the process itself,
Yeah,
right?
you basically want to use something that you can understand, you can control, that you can build your competitive advantage on, because we're not yet in the era of AGI where you'll just tell, the agent, okay,
Go do
please
it, yeah.
build me the great company or the great system, or, please tune this process, right? That's something that you need to understand. That's something that you need to be able to modify with time. So that's one aspect where I see a lot of development. Then, when we were talking 1 month ago, I was predicting that actually, the voice communication is going to be bigger and bigger. Right now, we see this that after the release of OpenAI, that this is starting to be visible. And with voice communication, I think we're not using yet the full potential of how it can work, what doors it can open, and also the other aspect is multimodal interfaces. I think that not many companies are thinking about it in this way. You either have text chatbot, you have graphical interface, you have voice communication, but the real value is in using them um, where they are the strongest, and basically um, using it as similar to the omni-channel approach in e-commerce, where you actually can seamlessly go from one interaction to the other, where it still stays focused on you, and you have good experience basically using the solution.
Right. Crazy thought that when we were discussing before the episode. The future that can happen is if we're talking about orchestration and having different agents, we're talking about always in the context of the single client or a single company that you have deployed there. But thinking about the experience from the user perspective, that I have my own AI agent that is actually giving me
Mm.
intimacy and understands me fully. That's probably something that
Yeah,
will
that's
happen in your.
that's something that we're building into some of the solutions. So I think this is going to be a future, and it's in a lot of talks from, for example, Yuval Noah Harari, right? He mentions that intimacy is going to be the next big thing. I agree because basically the agent can learn about you, can actually give you the experience that is better and better. It's right now I'm not comparing this to like the human communication, but in terms of how you interact with like web or mobile interface, there is a lot that you can do there to really improve this experience.
Right. Probably we'll be recording an episode around that because it's a whole different topic and worth of pursuing. But just to start to wrap it up a little bit, we have talked about the approach to AI. We've talked about the anti-patterns. We've moved the topics of how to start a project, to start with the business goals, and how to think about the implementation in waves in the context of the business processes that you have. We've mentioned about the costs and incremental approach to that. And then we were talking about the orchestration and the limitations of the AI. Anything specifically you would like to sound in the end as a wrap up, like a main 2 or 3 points that you'd like every CEO or CTO have it in their heads after this?
Yeah, I think first look at LLMs as a tool that you can use for certain cases, that you can use to open doors to other optimizations that are efficient, cheap, that you can do quickly. Uh, Another is look at LLMs as an experience, as something that you can plan as a whole, not just a chatbot that you can type some questions to, but think where to link old and new interfaces together, where to blend them. I think that those are the most important points. And the third one, whenever you're developing LLMs or whenever you're using LLMs to leverage your product or your business, build competitive advantage in, uh, use it like try to prepare the lean plan, something that will already start working for you quickly, that you can test quickly, and that you can see okay how it works in your environment. Because even if you're using a solution that worked for a lot of other companies, in your case it's still good to test it, to adapt, to onboard your team into it and see how it works.
I really love that kind of summary because, in my opinion, there are also 1 or 2 points on top of that I think it's worth of underlining. And one is for me the fact that it's not anymore a point solution that you think about that should I implement AI or not. It's more or less like a building block. Should I have AI as a part of the effort that I have? If yes, I can think about it in a million ways. So think about that as a tool, and you can always adapt it and include it. It's a powerful tool, but you can do it incrementally without huge investment and with huge knowledge. And then the other thing is it's easier on the other opposite spectrum, right? It's easier and easier to build simple prototypes without any effort. But again, it will be more and more complex problem to solve that I can build it fast, but building it right,
Mhm.
orchestrating that or defining the whole architecture of the solution is basically the key component for the future use, especially if we're talking about the UX experience and AI UX experience, right? Thank you, Mike, for the discussion. I guess that this is where we'll stop that. It's a
Sure.
pleasure to have you again on the podcast. And thank you for all for being with us until now. If you have any comments, good or bad, just leave us a comment in the section either on the Spotify, YouTube, or Apple. Feel free to send us ideas and suggestions. We're always open to hear them and discuss. And thank you again for being here. See you on the next episode. Take care.